I'm here today to talk to you about the ambassador program that Toastmaster is starting. So let's talk about that specifically. What is this revitalization program that is going on with our education program? Next slide, please. One of the things that you may have noticed is that when you are going through the educational program, you have two tracks that you can take: the competent communicator or the leadership track. So the 2010 Strategic Planning Committee got together, they took a look at our program. And what they tried to see, or what they tried to understand, were the pros, things that worked very well, and the cons, things that needed to be improved upon. And how they went about doing this is they had surveys of current and former members, taking a look at all of the educational material, and tried to look to see where there were disconnects with what's going on in the real world today and where they can make improvements, and also developing what is our core, what are those attributes, those things that Toastmasters stand for, that they can deliver to the members, that's going to improve them not only as a speaker but as a leader. Next slide. So why was there this focus? Why was there this need to take a look at our programs? And the survey brought up this, that many members found that the program was confusing. They weren't sure exactly what they needed to do in order to progress through the process. Am I taking the leadership track? Am I taking the communication track? Which manuals do I need to do? How many of these checkpoints do I need to actually acquire in order to go on to the next stage? Not only did they take a look at that, but they also got a team together, a learning masters committee that they call, that actually helped them out and that they are continuing to work with, that is helping to point out some of those disconnects. But taking a look at some of the things that they found via the survey, many of the projects today are out to date. They're just simply no longer applicable in today's environment. The real world needs of our members rather are not being met, and that clearly needs to be addressed, such as online training. Why is it that you necessarily have to go via the manual? Here at Ford, we do a lot of things via WebEx. More importantly, for our training classes, there are a lot of online training that you can take at your own pace. So, please go to the next slide. What you see here is the two tracks. So there is the leadership track, which I had mentioned earlier, the competent leader, and that's this manual for those who may remember seeing this. And then there's the competent communicator manual. You can go track A, the competent leader track, and you get your CL, your advanced leader bronze, your advanced leader silver, and then you become a distinguished Toastmaster. For the competent communicator, you simply can go through the advanced communicator bronze, silver, and gold. But this looks nice and pretty at this high level. But let's take a look at what it entails in order to acquire these different progressions. Next slide. One more. This nice, confusing chart is what you must do in order to progress through the program. And many individuals find this not only confusing, but when you take a look at it, it's somewhat intimidating. So for instance, if you're going through the competent communicator path, there are the advanced communication series that you would take, the entertaining speaker, the professional speaker, the persuasive speaker. But then as you progress further on, you find that you think that you've done the two manuals that you were required to do, but suddenly there's this, oh, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to have a program for the youth, or some program that you give back to the club that helps improve it. Speechcraft, for instance. And you're so close, I'm going to be there, I have to do this. And many members find that not only confusing, but that can be not only intimidating, but somewhat depressing. You've worked so hard to get through the manuals, you think that you've made it, you've told your leader of education, I'm going to have this done, and then all of a sudden you find out you didn't quite make it. So taking a look at this, the committee decided we're going to make this a little bit easier and a little better for our members. Next slide. Again. So these are some steps they've taken in the last 6 months. They've taken a strong look at, or a deep look at all of the programs that they have today. They are addressing those that are outdated, and they're looking to remove them. For those that are good, they're going to keep, and they are adding programs that keep in line with today, so that the members of Toastmaster will have real world usage, things that are going to help them today and improve themselves, not only as speakers, but also as leaders. Next slide. Earlier I talked that when they got together, they highlighted those core competencies that we are going to need, that they're going to maintain, that Toastmasters builds itself around. And those include public speaking, leadership management, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, and building your self-confidence. So those core competencies are not going to leave. The program is going to center around strengthening this core. But one of the big differences, if you go to the next slide, is now when you go to do the program tracked, you are going to actually take a survey in which you're going to highlight what are your objectives, what are you really hoping to learn from this, and that way we make sure that the path that you want to take meet your objectives. But the core principles of Toastmasters doesn't change. We're still going to have our meetings. We're still going to have peer reviews. We're still going to have evaluations. So what you've come to know and love won't change. But the improvements will be that it's going to be more applicable to today. Next slide. As noted earlier, many projects now will give members the skills and knowledge that they can use in real-world situations. The projects will be more relevant to the members. And last, the types of programs will help members to succeed outside of Toastmasters as well as inside of Toastmasters. Next slide. As noted earlier, your learning will be tailored to you. No more that you have to go through this step by step by step. Now it's going to be tailored to what you want to get out of it. And we're going to help you be the best that you can be and to meet your objectives. We've already talked about the learning path. There's going to be more information as they roll this out in the next 6 months, which is going to have more specifics. It's going to show you exactly what's changing, how it's changing. So we will have that information forthcoming in the latter part of this year. Next slide, please. I'm sorry. Just to recap what that new journey is going to be. Now, as part of the Revitalized Education Program, you get to answer a survey where you set your goals and your objectives. The survey response will help determine the tailored learning for each member. Then the member actually completes the projects and receives the mentor support. The member receives recognition, and additional learning paths are recommended. So this is the track that you want to be, i.e., I wish to become a professional speaker. Very good. Then these are the classes or programs that you need to take. There's going to be online training as well as the manuals. I have a preference of which one I can take. And they will now make sure that my goals and objectives are being met. So, my 5 minutes are up. I know the red lights come up. That's in a high level. It's what the ambassador program is about. One thing that I would like to do is take back questions that you may have, specific questions that you may have, or concerns, so that I can report that back to Heather, who's actually leading the ambassador program for this region, and she would get those back to the learning masters to make sure that they are going to address them. So with that, I'm going to conclude and say thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, for the time, and fellow Toastmasters. At the same time, I'm going to say if you can give me some feedback, some concerns or questions that you may have, I will be sure to take that back to Heather. Thank you.